And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, over to the Zero Hour Asia Showdown 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be more aggressive. Sandigito's not going to be here with me right now. He's going to be more of a PNG image on my sidelines. If only he would ever look that good in real life. You know, it's a photoshopped image. Thankfully, he's not here to defend himself because I wouldn't hear the end of it. But what we are going to have in front of your screens tonight, though, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a banger. First initial games are going to be between the side of Team Bond going up against Red Wings. Red Wings didn't really have the best of showings when they were up against the teams that they were on that upper bracket round, but hopefully they're going to be able to come on back into this and be a team that we just can really be looking forward to. Red Wings, they made a lot of very, I would say, significant mistakes in their upper bracket run, and going into this lower bracket, they still have that second chance. And Team Bond, not really a team that we have a lot of information on, so maybe, just maybe, they could take this one away for themselves and plan that revenge story moving forward. First initial map will be Critical Response, ladies and gentlemen, with the second being Prison Break and with the third being Breaking Met. It seems as though Residential House has taken a little bit more of a backseat for a lot of these teams, as they don't really want to go into it as hard as they did previously, and that's understandable because Residential House is now a map that almost every single team has figured out and kind of understood what the meta is really going to be looking like for them. And in a lot of situations, it just isn't as clean as you would have hoped for. But giving them the benefit of the doubt here, you can tell that plus minus this overall map selection is looking quite well, but Critical Response, again, one of those maps that doesn't really bode well for the side of Red Wings because they are not really a team that play off of each other very. Wait, how do you put it in a very nice way? They don't play off of each other very well. They don't make a lot of the plays that you generally expect them to make, and those mistakes just really start to add up in more ways than one. And in my opinion, Red Wings as a team, they are pretty strong when it comes down to their raw mechanical capabilities, but as soon as they're put in the opposite side of that spectrum, it's just not as simple. Hopefully, Kirito's going to be come on in soon enough so that he can join me for this entire thing and just pull out this extravaganza of BO3 for you. But overall, you're going to need to wait and see where they're going to go with this one. And sadly, I will be disappearing from time to time here, ladies and gentlemen, as we're trying to fix this green screen. But hey, sadly, instead of my green screen, it's an off green screen instead. I don't know how the hell to even put that one, but overall, we're going to be stabilizing here at the bare minimum as the teams are still going to be getting ready inside of the lobby, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to be trying to get confirmation on whether or not the match can start. Let me just go in for a check. Now, going back to the point about Red Wings, right, as a team, is Red Wings has their ups and downs, I would say. They have very mechanically talented players, especially on the side of Sulfuric and Muted, but their overall map knowledge has been a bit too lackluster. A lot of the teams that have been practicing and that have much more hours under their belt are far superior in comparison to Red Wings, just because they know the map better and how to play the lines of sight a little bit stronger. And you need to have that one selfless player on your team every single time if you want to have a good show here in Zero Hour. This has been proven time in and time out that if you don't have that one player who's willing to throw their lives on the line, it just never works out in the way that you would have expected. But for now, stabilization is key for them, as with 10 seconds left on the clock, we're going to be jumping on into versus game almost immediately. None of the players of Bond are really players that we do know of, but never really know what to expect. Some of these unknown teams really do have players that have proven to be those mystery figures that time to time can be a game changer for the team. Overall, Critical Response is a good map to start everything off on because in a lot of ways, yeah, this is a map that has its ups and downs, but at the same time, it's pretty stable to say the very least. That both teams, they're just going to be tested purely on their basics of this map. Kind of thinking on the line doesn't really do much here. For the side of Red Wings, they should know on this map it's so bright that even if you take out the lights, you kind of don't get anything done. But it's a habit now that a lot of players have built up playing Zero Hour at this level. that taking out the lights is just going to make it a bit more dark here. That's going to be a bit of an issue. Seems as though more code is being done on the opposite side here, Paladin. They're kind of happy with this one. As Red Wings, they're going into this first map with high spirits. And I love to see that because they know that, win or lose, they're still going to be in for a little bit of the moolah here because they are already into the top 8 position. So they're just fighting for that glory point, of course, and just try and set a comeback up against the members of SHOPERBRO. I do believe. I'm kind of sure which team that they did go up against previously. I'm going to be going in for a check for that in just a little bit. Don't worry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But the way that they have played it, up till now, they're pretty clean with it. Oh yeah, it was actually... Yeah, it was actually Online Dogs, my bad. Yeah, Online Dogs, they were the teams that go up against them on that initial fight, and it's been quite rough. After that matchup, you could tell that a lot of the mistakes that were being made were pretty evident up against that team, and the gunfights that they were trying to do just didn't really bode well, especially with the space that they were trying to play. The much more simplified variation could just work here, as you can tell that Team Bond, they're not really a team that tries to go in for any form of aggressive play. They're taking things slow, but Red Wings as well, they're taking it even slower. It's going to be a first kill coming in from Udat. He's able to shut down 2, though. Never mind. Across the map, he's going to be able to take out players almost instantaneously with a couple of rounds as well. He's looking for more. The shots to connect. Paladin's going to be able to beautifully finish off Red Wing as well. And Team Bond, players that they could have had to try and turn this one around just instantly fall flat on their faces. They're looking for even more, and look at the positioning. Escanor coming in from the top rope, instantly going in for the shutdown. Last player's position already known and dusted, I do believe. He's going to try to run around in towards the corner. Does get one of the kills, but he just kind of gets blown down. Can't really run on away even if he wants to. Nobody does have a need to just cause a slight bit of damage here to force them off these angles, but still not going to be able to go in for the kill. Udat in position, up and ready, up close and personal for the kill. He's looking for it, and Huya low to his last singular points of HP. He's only 50 HP left. Pulls out the weapon, and he's going to be able to find that. Never mind, Revolve. Kind of getting dominated in a way that we didn't really expect. Down over to a 2v1 situation now. Have to be a little bit careful in the way that they push forward with this. Does have the heal, can pop it onto himself, get back up to 75 HP. Does have a tiny little bit more wiggle room to play for, but with Escanor being on that angle, he's looking for the final shot. Nade in hand is going to go in for the toss. Not going to be able to find a kill, and the time is just going to get wasted here. It's Red Wings. They want to finish up this round as quickly as they possibly can, but Huya is not yet ready to give it up that quickly. You would have expected everyone to just try to swarm this one shield together, but instead they're playing a little bit too passive for their own good, and it's going to cost them big here. So on it approach again, Escanor. He's just going to deal with the fact that he's being pinged out, but never mind. Huya gets the kill. 1 second here. This could be a possible clutch for their team as Paladin over on the opposite side. Red Wings, they've thrown this round out in more ways than one. And instead of going in together, they tried to take the fight one by one. Red Wings, maybe a little bit too much of an over-aggressive approach, don't you think? Now Paladin down to the wire, kind of wasting time at this point of the game because it's pretty evident that Red Wings, they're just having fun here for the first initial round, but they need to be careful on what they do next. For the engagement now, at the end of this. Push out from Huya. They're working their way in as close as they possibly can. As they try to go in for a rush, and instead they Paladin straight from the side of the classroom, just peeks out hearing the footsteps. And gets that kill. Team Bond, they have that answer. And that's all that they needed. A little bit dicey here right at the very beginning for the side of Red Wings, but Paladin, being that anchor for the team, just didn't really go in for the same plays as the others did. But honestly speaking, like we talked about this as well before, that if your entire team is willing to go in for a stupid strat, that strat is not really that stupid anymore. So if it works, it works. Kuna Matata on for the situation. It's Red Wings. They're in a pretty good scenario for themselves here at the bare minimum, but overall, you can tell that Team Bond, they're going to be a little bit more well prepared, I would say, after what happened in that last round. These runouts and these aggressive plays coming through from the members of Red Wings will work out well for them, but they need to be careful of how much they're giving away to, because if they're giving away a little bit too much, not going to be looking as happy as they would be normally. Still a best of 3, ladies and gentlemen, so they're playing for the marathon here. 0 Hour is a game that you take your time with and play it slow. With 30 seconds left on the clock to go for the setup once again, Red Wings, they're just practicing their overall swings and their beats because the players are just itching for as many gunfights as they can possibly find.
Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
Started out for either side. Again, the calm before the storm once more just initiates between both of these teams. A slowed down approach, to say the very least, as the members of Team Bond, again, doesn't really seem to be like one of those teams that tries to take control super early on in a round, almost immediately. They wait to see if their opponents do anything first, especially after what UNED did. Being able to shut down 2 players like that almost simultaneously, it's always an issue. Still a chance to find even more here, as Rattler doesn't really have a scope on it. Kind of question what's been going on for the members of Team Bond, as after that last round, you can tell that the members of Red Wings are a little bit shaken on what to do next, as Dr. Infamous looks to find another big kill and an opener from the sidelines, but that doesn't really seem to be the case. The angles not looking as clean as you'd hope for, as other members of Red Wings are even going in for a swing. They're taking their time in this engagement, as overall slowed down to a crawl, as they're looking to find that first bout of information of where these attackers could be, but in the way that they have been playing, they've not been giving up much noise. To have a couple of bits of util to really give into this round, but with 4 minutes still left on the clock, they have a lot of ground to cover, yes, but ample amounts of time to do so. They can take it slow, but taking space early enough is just so crucial to have. And with a slow push-up from Eskimo all the way around here from Green Stairs on the opposite side. Now though, seems that both teams have just like went in for a little bit of a skirmish from the sidelines, but doesn't really take that engagement as seriously as you would have thought. Just once more, things just come down over to a crawl here. As you can tell that the opener could be a little bit more closer. Nades in hand, prepped and ready. They will get that first line of sight opened up, but Huya takes damage instead. It's not looking as good as you hoped for the members of Team Bond, as they're a little bit worried to make that first move. They're slowed down to a crawl once again, as none of the players have yet to come into the building. This is just a big surprise, as yeah, you have time, but you need to use that time to go do something. Instantaneously, it's going to be a peek coming out from Sulfuric, who gets that kill. Escanor looking for more here, knows the position of a couple of these players. He's going to try to make a run for it. Also, they find a kill onto the roof right now. Position revealed, but they have no idea where he's coming from. In from the back, it's going to be Escanor who gets a big kill. Does he expect the player that is waiting for him on the opposite side of the balcony? There was a real question. No, he doesn't. It's going to be Dr. Infamous who shuts him down almost instantly. The trades do come in, but the members of Red Wings, they still come out on top because overall they had the better positioning and they were not afraid to take fights up against them. Critical Response is one of those maps that you can't really actively take a lot of fights on, but as soon as you go over to a map such as Prison Break, it's a very different story. The teams right now may look a little bit more even, but that's primarily because of the much more slower pace of members of... Oh, it's not working. Like, Team Bond is just... It's nothing's working out for them. And it's kind of tough to say, but this is what the reality is of the situation is going to be like. If one of your team members are not really willing to get into the fight, you have a shield. That shield needs to jump in as quickly as it possibly can because everyone else, yeah, they're trying to take fights, but they're exposing themselves to more angles than they can handle. Those difficulties starting to add up here. Already Udead matching out Kuya. He's looking for the last fight, but Udead instantly comes in for the finisher. The eagle shot straight to the face to take everything away. 0-2, ladies and gentlemen, as Red Wings, they look to be relentless.
Use the planning table to find the bomb. Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
We're now back into his round, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. A small little bit of a timing gap coming out from me as the early kills do come through. It seems as though the members of Team Bond have already lost out on 2 of their members, while Red Wings have lost 1. I'm 100% sure that the player who did die was Udead. Knowing him, he wanted to go in for a run out or a kill and failed miserably at it at the first initial couple of minutes on the round. We're still going to be looking in for a fight. Players are on the outside of the building here as Red Wings showcasing their confidence to try and end off map number 1 as quickly as they possibly can, but going in a little bit too far as Red Wing does take out Sulfuric, the raid boss for the team pretty much, as he is the SAR aimer for them. But looking for more here as the push out Could be coming in at any second if they're not careful. Fight's already being taken. They're looking for an even bigger engagement here, but Team Bond, they're just playing things so much more slower than what is expected. The angle already given for them. Paladin and Escanor just instantly find out too. The perfect double swing works out in their favor. Nade in hand to try and deal the damage up against it. Huya is going to be able to find that kill over towards Paladin. The angle just was not really his, and Huya once again just chilling out with that shield. Just going to be waiting, possibly going in for a run out onto that position, as both players need to try and converge onto this one shield together, because if they do, they're going to be able to isolate him. The bathroom position, not really the best one for him to sit in. But that's kind of the thing, right? Even if he shoots out one player, it's going to be big for him. Huya is going to be able to find that kill around. He's able to take out the player. And this is beautifully done. But he's still stuck inside. He can't really run away in the way that you would have expected. Position's good. And Udet's going to be instantly able to shut him down. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my god, Udet. He really does not like that shield. It's that one shield player who's alive right at the very end that really does cause problems for the team. They can't really run and gun him down. Even with superior mechanical skill, it's always going to be a problem going up against a shield of that caliber. And they're able to hold and stabilize here, ladies and gentlemen. Steady hands wins them the game here as Team Bond. Are able to come alive for that one in that last round. Hopefully they're going to be able to go in for a bit of a turnaround in this particular round here, because in a lot of ways, like, Bond just doesn't really want to commit to any of these fights. And without that form of a commitment, it just doesn't work out. You need to be a little bit more eager to get into the building, because the way that you're wasting time, you're allowing Red Wings to kind of dictate the pace for a lot of these fights. And I understand you want to take things slow and maybe just feel out the map, but unless you take an initiative, those defenders are not going to find any fear.
Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
It's a bit more of a different approach though already. You can tell that now that the sides have already swapped through. The members of Red Wings, they're not afraid to get themselves into the building, but Bond, regardless of it, they're going to be the first ones to go in for that kill. Escanor's looking for another one, knows the players want to be close towards the bathroom angle. He's looking for the fight, but he's just not going to be the ones to get it yet, at the bare minimum. Knows the angle, expects it. He does get shut down, but another player over towards the side of the bathroom. They need to get cleared it out as soon as they possibly can. That's a different player. Hopefully they have the read. Yes, they do. It's going to be Sulfuric and Escanor who finds the opening frags out for their team. Paladin does get another one, and it's going to be 3v1 now on the side of Red Wings as they need to work their way in. Last player, they don't know the exact position, but they do have the site soon to play around with. Just need to go in for the defuse as quickly as he possibly can. Infamous looking for the kill, but he's just not going to be able to find it. Never mind, the bullets just don't land. And yikes, Team Bond. That could have ended up in a different fashion if they planned it out right. As Red Wings, they take pretty much the 4 rounds consecutively for themselves, as you can tell that Red Wings, they're in it to try and win this. 5-0 could be the first initial scoreline, ladies and gentlemen. We don't really know what to expect because Red Wings, they've stepped on that gas pedal and they're just going to keep on going and brute forcing every single one of these engagements. And now that they're on the attack side, it's nothing about slowing down anymore because they're not afraid, because they know they have the aim to easily outskill them in a lot of these fights.
Use the planning table to find the bomb. Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
Already in towards the building. Look at how fast the members of Red Wings are able to just W key their way in towards the side. Critical response seemingly. Is there a map pickup here with Sulfuric actually picking up on a sniper? Bit of a surprise here because generally the sniper on the map of critical response doesn't really bode well for a lot of these fights because of the way that this map layout is done, as already you can tell that members of Red Wings, they have a pretty significant advantage. Revolve does know one of the players are going to be sitting inside of the side of bathroom. He's going to be given a chance to go in for this fast hit. Nade utilized to go in for the cross. He's not going to be able to get the kill, but he masked the sound almost instantaneously. Beautifully done as the double prong approach, and plus with the perfect nade utilization, they're going to be able to take everyone out one after the next. Last player now being Huya, who tries to go in for the big plays on his own accord. He does find one at the bare minimum, but that's all that he's probably going to be able to get. Udet catches on to the side of Paladin, down over to a 1v2 situation now because Udet kind of wanted a couple of kills to his name. Doesn't want to be the one who is stuck on the bottom frag, now does he? Looks for the fight, and he's going to be able to get it. 5-0, ladies and gentlemen, for the first initial map. A pretty heavy decider for this first initial one, and you can tell that Team Bond just are a little bit too afraid for their own good. And they're making those mistakes. X. This is not how you wanted the first initial map to go if you're on the side of Team Bond, but the experience levels and their difference in that experience for a couple of these players are pretty evident in a lot of these rounds, and that evidence is just gonna be on board even more if they're not careful as even more time passes, and I'm fading into the darkness here. Not really much that we can do now, can we, ladies and gentlemen? But for now, though, I do believe that this first initial map is a little bit more of a problematic situation for them. And hopefully, as we go into the second map of Prison Break, they're going to have a little bit more of a better time because Prison Break is one of those maps that doesn't really need to have that strong of a setup to work out in a lot of ways. So, knowing that and knowing how this team is able to stabilize in some of these fights, it won't be that bad, but again, like I don't know how to say it, but they do look outclassed when it comes down to just the experience they have playing the games. Red Wings, I know for a fact that they scrim a lot, and those scrims have really started to pay off when it came down to the team's overall confidence. And if they want to keep on building upon that confidence, Prison Break is probably one of the best maps that they could have asked for because aggression on that map gets awarded very well because of how well the lines of sight are created. I probably would say Prison Break is one of the best maps to play next to Residential House because of how well the map is designed in a lot of instances, both for the attackers and for the defenders. But as we are going to be setting up game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully Kirito's going to be coming in with us soon enough because the poor guy, he's still a PNG on my side. We're going to be heading on down over into a very short little break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with a lot more 0-hour action. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm finally not going to be a transparent PNG image for once. And my boy Kirito is still not here. It's a lot. It's pretty quiet here, that's for certain. Not having to hear his voice, not having to hear him nag about the fact that he didn't get the school that he wanted. But what we do know is that the players of Team Bond, they didn't get what they wanted either. A 5-0 loss going up against the members of Red Wings for map number 1. Hopefully, map number 2, the map of Prison Break, will paint them in a little bit of a different picture here. But one of the bigger problems that we can already witness from this particular team is the fact that they are, how do you put it, a little bit too scared to go in for a lot of the engagements, and they're not really the first to take those fights as soon as they're trying to force themselves in. Red Wings on the opposite side of the spectrum, though, they are always ready to take duels, and Prison Break is one of those maps that is pretty duel intensive, because you want to take a lot of those early fights as quickly as you possibly can and as decisively as you can as well. And you can tell that all their members, they've started to pick up on those exact kinds of weapons to do so. Shotguns in the hands of Uded, Revolve with his own rifle, Rattler in the hands of Paladin, and all the members of Red Wings, they're looking to go in for that engagement. Sulfuric not really choosing the shield as you would have expected, but instead picking up the Rattler as well, because they just want to go for gunfights. And hopefully Team Bond, they're going to be able to set up a little bit here. A couple of proximity alarms in check. No door jammers being utilized. Door jammers are like pretty substantial on this particular map, because it gives you so much information to play with when you're anchoring onto one of the sites. But instead, this is quite a risky fight. And I do believe that the map knowledge that the members of Red Wings have will be a great boon to them on this attack side as well, because repels are so crucial on this map, and the way that you play for the different repels and the positions can be the make it or break it for your team.
Deploying in 10 seconds.
10 seconds left for the round to start things off here. So we're looking for the engagement to happen pretty
Locate
quickly.
and defuse the bomb.
As for now, just trying to see how deep they can go with this one. You then in towards the back end of this. It's already trying to take the first fight. The players has been spotted. A little bit of damage being done from either side of this as Team Bond. They've already proven that they're not really that afraid to take the fights here on this particular map, but with a lot of the corners now being checked in, it's going to be Uded who looks for the opening kill over on one of the players. He's going in for the second. He's not going to be able to find it, not on that angle at least. Shotgun's not going to have that much damage. Didn't really take one of his players with him, so that's a big issue, but Escanor still is able to find that trade. Regardless of the situation, the members of Red Wings still are able to make good progress over onto the objective, forcefully pushing their way in. And with that, they have a pretty good opener. The door jammer now being removed here by Escanor. Revolve able to get another big kill as he's able to work his way into the side. Close position of one of the players. Doesn't really find a shot here, but he still gets the trade regardless. Never mind. Ouya coming in strong. Jongi's going to be able to take out one, but instantly the members of Red Wings are still able to trade off down over to a 1v1 here. Ouya, the man, the myth, the legend for that last particular map. The man with the 7 kills, with the shield, of course, still able to capitalize and be the game changer that his team needed. Flashes out to try and take the engagement here, but look at Escanor. He's making his way all the way around. Has 4 minutes to really play for this round here as well, so as long as Escanor doesn't make a lot of noise trying to go in for that wraparound, and I'm pretty sure that Ouya is kind of expecting this, because if he's nowhere close towards the doorway, that means he has to come in from the back. He's trying to hide himself in towards the body here. Escanor giving away the positioning. He made a lot of noise in that angle too, and Ouya just kind of got caught out because of the amount of noise that he made shuffling around onto the floor. 1-0 as the members of Red Wings, they take the first round in the most decisive fashion that you could have hoped for, but Team Bond, they're actively taking a lot of fights, and that is what I'd love to see. But then again, like, you did see that Uded kind of did start throwing in more ways than one, so that throw kind of solidified the fact that, hey, either they're going to lose this round just because Uded went in a bit too deep, or they're going to be the winners because we have a very incredible roster that's always able to plug in a lot of the mistakes being done by a single one of their by any one of their players.
planning table to find the bomb. Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
Revolve though, already working its way into his map. The prep phase for the members of Red Wings have been pretty uneventful, I would say, but for Team Bond, try to work their way in somehow. Shields have been taken, so Sulfuric is going to be the first line of contact for this one. The camera over towards the top is going to be broken here. And I like the fact that UDET didn't really choose to give away the position of the shotgun here whatsoever. Inflows up and personal. Dream gets a big catch here over on one of their players. He's going to be able to shut down too. UDET does get the kill, but at what cost pretty much? You lost out on your shield in the worst possible situation. And you can tell that Sulfuric, he has not really gotten a lot of experience playing with that particular weapon as well. Drones now being utilized by Paladins. Paladin in towards the corner. 3 players already spotted out. They know the exact position of all of them. They need to try and work their way up. Flash utilized to just try to distort them a little bit and make them fear the different positions that they're trying to play. UDET taking a back seat here, one after the other. They are starting to fall, and Team Bond showing signs of life for it all. UDET's gonna get picked up here, that is for certain. But the question is how. I don't believe he has a weapon. He has anything to pick up in this situation. Goes in for the fight. He's looking for the second. He's gonna be the one to find it. He's looking for the last, but instead it's gonna be Infamous who comes in strong, straight from the doorway. He's not gonna be able to see it. As Team Bond able to capitalize on a lot of the mistakes being done by Red Wings. It's just surprising because Sulfuric kind of made it a little bit too early. You have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that it just doesn't work like that, because that shield needs to have you be as up close and personal as you possibly can, and you need to be in like touching distance of your opponent, and that's when the shield bash is going to be able to work. Good nade though overall for the utilization as well. They played this one smart. That smart play got them a lot of value.
Use the planning table to find the bomb. Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
Now though, Red Wings, a little bit of a switch out here in their overall setup. They're trying to be a little bit more decisive in their approach. You can already tell positionally. Red Wings, they're taking this a little bit more seriously now, playing for the windows instead, not really forcing a lot of these fights, but instead it's going to be Red Wayne who's able to find that first initial catch. Red Wings, they're making a lot of those rookie mistakes here already. They're piling up one after the next. Sniper in the hands of Sulfuric as he's trying to see if he can find any one of these players up close and personal, but instead it is going to be Jongi, who gets that first initial kill. Sulfuric spots at the head of Jongi, able to take it clean off of his shoulders almost instantaneously. Good shots here from Sulfuric, but it's just not going to be enough. They need more kills. Escanor finds one with the ump, gets things equalized down to a 3v3 now, but gets immediately traded out. Not really the best spots that you would want to be in, because they're trying to look for more. And they're good at Paladins. Now, working his way in, Nade utilized on from the sidelines. He's gonna need to be careful. What could be waiting for him on the opposite side? The shot's just better. Dream, he has the better angle for it. And a 1v2 now. And a 1v3. Try and go in for a clutch here. Sulfuric is the best man for the job, but doesn't really have the best weapon to do it. No real sprays to work with. Needs to rely on the full one-tap potential that he does have to really turn this one around.
All enemies have been neutralized.
And this round's just not going to go in Sulfuric's favor whatsoever. This 1v3 just doesn't really work that well for him. And with these positions that they've gone for, you can tell that Team Bond, they look to be a little bit better on this particular map. It seems as though the defensive side is where this team really is thriving. And that last map, it just kind of showed how, yeah, it looked a little bit too lackluster to say the very least. The members of Team Bond just didn't have a good read on what to do on critical response, and they were a bit lost considering the sheer size of that map. But knowing Red Wings and their map knowledge in this particular map, especially Sulfuric, who have that cheeky spot here where he's able to guarantee himself a kill because of the Swamp Key that he has. Maybe we're going to be able to witness that as well. Red Wings on that defensive side look really potent and powerful, but we should never count the chickens before they do hatch from the eggs here, because Red Wings, they're known to make a lot of troll plays and a lot of mistakes where they give away rounds by accident, so I'm going to be the devil's advocate here and just wait this one through, because the way that Team Bond generally like to play, they need to be a little bit more aggressive in their overall takes, because they're a bit too slow on that attack side, and that's what the members of Red Wings really capitalize upon, because they're just never afraid of the pressure that they become towards them. And having no fear when you're on that attack side just makes you so much more difficult to play with. Up, that's Sulfuric already. He's already on that angle. You're gonna get a good cam on Sulfuric at the very end. That would be perfect, because he's doing that again. He should be able to guarantee a kill here if the setup's good.
Locate and defuse the bomb.
Yeah, knowing Sulfuric, he's instantly going to be able to find it. That's Red Wayne now already being taken off of the table. That's a front entrance, ladies and gentlemen. That's always so difficult to fight against. If you don't know about that Swan Peak position, you're not going to be able to counter him out as quickly. Who is going to be able to work his way in towards building a little bit more of a faster approach. This is what you love to see from the side of Red Wings here. But again, they can't really lose their bodies now, can they? Unless they're careful, they could be walking into a death trap here. Jongi has the proper timing and positioning for it all. So they're looking for this engagement here. These fights working out well for them, the bare minimum. This one's outside of the building here. looking for the fight, and it seems as though Yudet's going to be able to catch out Jongi for that one. Overly aggressive is the name of the game for them, as Huya, in kissing distance of Sulfuric, just catches him out once again. Beautifully done. So for now, Red Wings, they're just cleaning up house one after the next. Poor old Sulfuric just got the short end of the stick for that one, jumping in front of the shield like that, but everyone else from his team are just cleaning up house. Infamous in position and are ready for it all. Just gonna keep things going and the ball rolling in their court. It's fired from either side as they're gonna keep on looking for another duel here. It's Infamous. The engagement is just there for him, but all of the players of Red Wings, knowing them, they're just always ready to take these fights. They're looking for the last. The door is gonna get opened up. They know the exact position of the player. They can hear it out on the footsteps here, but instead, they're not fighting into him just yet, as positionally, I don't believe that Infamous has been spotted. They've not really been utilizing their ears for this one, it seems. As he's just going to try to run around, see if he can catch a couple of these players on the outside. As timing's given, he does have all of the pings that you could have asked for in the entire universe, but 4v1 now. Still given a chance here as Revolve just went in for a lean for no apparent reason. He was leaning and his foot was completely out in the open. Instantly gets shut down. Unit's going to be all trying to catch on the opposite side too. And 2-2 for the members of Red Wings as the defensive side carries a little bit more fruit for them as Team Bond now being forced to play a bit more passive in their overall approach here. Waiting now for that setup and that set play. Clearance yet to be had, as you can tell that Team Bond just kind of got caught completely off guard by the way that the members of Red Wings really played that defensive side as well.
Use the planning table to find the bomb.
Red Wings now have really showcased that, hey, they are not that afraid on the defensive side, and they're looking to take as many early engagements as they possibly can, especially with Sulfuric being that cheeky player that he is, taking such an aggressive angle on that bottom side as well. It was a pleasant surprise to see, but those kind of surprises don't really happen as often as you would have hoped for. Door jammers now being placed, a couple of pop lights being taken away as well. It seems as though it's going to be the turn for Paladin to really go in for that cheeky fight here. How many of these positions are there on this map? I really do wonder, but with an iron sight, this is going to be pretty difficult to pull off, so Paladin, give it a chance here. Gun barrel's going to be poking out almost instantaneously as they're looking to see if they can find one kill here, but so many of the different positions, it's a bit worrisome to say the very least, as Paladin doesn't really get the kill. He knows that the players are not going to be spawning on that exact location, but because of how they're holding down on the front door, there's a lot of windows that they can play from as well. This is such a big surprise that I didn't really know that Prison Break had this many different spawn peak positions that you could play for. Yeah, the rappels are pretty strong, but spawn peaks are just so much more substantial from this side as well. Only was utilized to just burn out Huya and make him as uncomfortable as you possibly can, but not going to be able to get him just yet. He was going to be able to find a double kill though. Okay, never mind. A nade tossed out, and he's going to be able to shut out too. Instantly, the members of Red Wings left scratching their heads of what really went wrong in that fight. Communication lines just broke down, and Team Bond They look a little bit too strong for their own good. They try to run out in towards Huya. They fell flat on their faces for it. Also, will run in from the sideline, shotgun in hand, so Furyk's not going to be able to do as much as he could have hoped for. His position kind of isolated as Huya, again with this shield, is just a constant nuisance. Map number 1, he was a problem, and in map number 2, he's just still causing issues for the team. They need a kill to just try and equalize things out here because Team Bond now running around with a 2-1 advantage. Yes, they haven't made a lot of ground in towards the building, but with 4 minutes left on the clock, they don't really have as much to worry about. Finally, Sulfuric able to answer back. Does get a little bit of an upgrade for himself. Changes out the sawed-off for a better weapon in general. And now, what's the game plan here? What's the play that they could be going in for? Position's pretty good. No melee to try and cause a lot of issues from that side. Sulfuric instantly gets the turnaround and a play. He swaps over to the secondary. Doesn't make that mistake now, does he? As soon as his bullet does run out. Shield's now being taken away. Needs to try and go in for a run around. Good shot here from the sideline. Sulfuric tried to go in for the big play with the shield, but it just didn't work out in the way that you would have wanted. Sulfuric just doesn't know how to utilize the shield now, does he? It's a very difficult weapon to use if you're using it for the very first time, but once you get a hang of it, it's just so simple to get a good handle of. But for now, down. We do see that the last 2 anchors for the members of Red Wings are still alive and kicking here. You dead. Playing this one slow with Paladin being the player and being, of course, the proper rock for the team as he needs to be. You did though, not taking a very risky fight. It's a little bit of a surprise. Knowing him, he would have been the first one gunning for a play here. But instead, he wants to take this victory and he wants to win this out as quickly as he possibly can. Time is going to be key for them. Running around pretty much across the entire flooring. Udet's position yet to be revealed. They're looking for the fight, and he's possibly going to be able to get the kill too. Udet good for the first. He's going to be good for the second. Instantly drops out, and he's going to be able to shut down 3. Perfect positioning from Udet. Ladies and gentlemen, the members of Team Bond were none the wiser for it. Beautifully done out by them. As Red Wings, they take this round for themselves. And the 2-3 scoreline is just beautiful to look at. Now that Red Wings have finally established themselves in towards the lead, this is going to be the last round of this half once again, ladies and gentlemen, before the swap does come through back to that defensive side. So to the attacking side once again, which arguably is a little bit more difficult for them. Team Bond, they're just left to try and pick up those fallen pieces and just stabilize themselves on 3-3 at the bare minimum, because the buys that are soon to be coming through for them as well, as you can tell, Team Bond have not really been the best on that attack, but their defensive end looked good, but not for the right reasons, because Red Wings just didn't really pick the proper weapons to do it. The breaker on this map as well is easy to access if they want to try and play with the lights turned off, but it doesn't really seem to be the case, as much more of a slower-ended approach, you can tell, as Red Wings not really spreading themselves out to go in for kills yet, but good positioning coming in from Sulfuric, because he knows for a fact that no due date
locate and defuse the bomb
is gonna be an issue for them, as the round has now initiated, ladies and gentlemen. It's Team Bond looking for that early fight here already. Slight bits of damage being done onto that main door. They were expecting another player to go in for that spawn peak, but isn't really the case. As the Red Wings have struck fear into the hearts of their opposition, as all the members of Team Bond are now a little bit more cautious in their overall approach. They understand what could be waiting for them on the opposite side. Huya, again, needs to be the one who tries to take a lot of these early fights, have one of his teammates just follow him in. And if they don't, it's not going to be looking as good as you would have before. A little bit risky here, and Dream is going to be able to catch out Escanor. Trying to go in for the runaway engagement. That's going to be the first kill being given away over towards the side of the staircase, and it'll be a painful one at that because Escanor, he was a pretty big anchor for their team for that staircase side too. Losing control of staircase is going to give so much more free space and an opening for them to run around in. Revolve, good for the opening kill on his own accord as well. The cams giving away info that main lobby is now compromised with one of the players working their way in from the outside. So for now, the repels are where they're going to be feeling safe. On this 2-3 scoreline, REDWINGS, they're looking to go in for an even deeper play. Revolve gets shut down by Jongi over from the sidelines. They're looking for more here. And one after the other, the members of Team Bond and their patience are really paying off. They're not overly committing to any of these angles. They're taking it slow, but even though they have the man advantage, it's not over just yet. Again, 0 Hour is a very tactical heavy game, so positioning matters as much as your aim here, ladies and gentlemen. If they do have the proper timing, especially in that last round where you could tell you that just being able to take out those 3 players was such a big surprise to everyone. You would have expected one player to turn around for an instantaneous trade, but instead Udet just had that better positioning for himself. And in this round, it's another slowdown and a change from what's normally done. Over to a 2v3. None of the players have yet to really work their way in as quickly as you would have hoped for. Udet still alive and kicking, looking for the engagement here. The doorway angle is perfect for him. Udet looks for the fight. He doesn't really get the kill. He needs to try to run it away. 3 minutes still left on the clock. Ample amounts of time for the members of Team Bond to just work their way in towards the map. For now, the setup and that set play, doing well for this hit here. It's not looking as clean as you'd hope for it. Both teams are just now on for a little bit of a skirmish here. Paladin's position already revealed. They're trying to run around a little on the back end of this. Trying to be a little bit of a rookie man who could cause some problems. Paladin's going to be good for one of those kills. Jongi immediately does find that trade. It's all up to Udet to now try and clutch this one out. Positions revealed. Udet does get the kill, but down over to a 3v3 scoreline. 3-3 scoreline, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. As REDWINGS, they do get the trades, but they're a little bit too trigger happy in a lot of their fights, and they are falling because of it. Discipline just doesn't really seem to be the name of the game for them, as REDWINGS, they're making mistakes. And those mistakes are piling up one after the other. The members of Team Bond are just the ones to capitalize at every turn.
Use the planning table to find the bomb.
Seconds now going into that prep phase, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget that this is where the round swap has come through once again. And because of this round swap, how will they be playing this one out? There's going to be a lot of different instances where you can tell that REDWINGS can easily win out on every single fight that they take, but they start to get a bit too overzealous in the positions that they already are in. They could have just held down on their angles, they could have just go the crossfires, but instead, going in solo for a lot of those fights never really ends well now, does it? That's exactly what happened to Udet in that last particular round, and hopefully it doesn't happen again here on the defensive side as well. They don't want to be overly aggressive and just get instantly brought down onto their knees. As well. And with the attack now pretty much already initiated, you can tell that Red Wings are not gonna be as afraid as you would have expected. All their players have already gotten themselves in towards the site here. Too early for the finals. Either looking for the deal here that we made previously in that first round. Who gets that opener kills too, and one after the other, the members of Red Wings are just cleaning up house. Is there one to control onto? Last player already spotted. Vision's being given away. They take the shots, and Udet's going to be the one to go in for that kill. Ladies and gentlemen, match point indeed for the members of Red Wings here. As they're looking to close off the map of Prison Break on their own attack side, goddammit. They're going in pretty fast too for a lot of these fights. It's pretty surprising at how quickly they're able to find a lot of that space too. Close your eyes and you miss it, as Red Wings they're pretty dominant as soon as you look at them. While Team Bond on the other side, they're trying, but they showcased a much more of a better light in comparison to map number 1, but in a lot of the wrong ways too, because they're making significant mistakes. And those mistakes are being showcased in more ways than one for one apparent reason.
Use the planning table to find the bomb.
Three on the scorecards here already. As you can tell.
Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
As you can tell that, for now, Red Wings, they're looking to close things off as quickly as they possibly can. This last round could just easily be theirs if they do play their cards right. Systematic on the overall showdown with the start. You can tell they spread themselves out a little bit too thin though. They have to be careful of how deep they're going to be going with this one. Team Bond, they're probably expecting this place using charges to open up the first initial flooring. Huya instantly shuts down Paladin though. He went in a bit too fast for his own good, and he's going to pay the ultimate price for it with his own life. Escanor just comes in for the big save. Sulfuric with a double. Beautiful spray! Sulfuric! This man just knows no bounds. Spray transfer with a P90 done beautifully. Still has 3 more clips to play for, so that's not going to be that big of a problem for him when it comes down to ammo, so that's good. But yikes, not really the best of spots. Resolve, he's going to be able to find even more. Knows the position of the last player as well. Team Bond pretty much done and dusted for this one. Positions being given away. Uded comes in close, and with a shotgun to blast everything away. 5-3, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be the members of Red Wings taking map number 2 away from Team Bond. They gave him a lot of false hope, but yikes, when it came down to them stepping on that gas pedal, it was Uded who stepped up to the plate with Sulfuric on his side to take everything away. A well played out round indeed, ladies and gentlemen, for this first initial BO3. As you can tell that Red Wings, they are a team that are a force to be reckoned with. And it's a pretty bigger, drastic change from a team as well, from what we witnessed up when they went up against Online Dogs. But then again, Online Dogs as a team just knew how to hold their angles a little bit better and knew how to play together as a team in a lot of those instances. Uded and, of course, his teammates just spread themselves out across the entire map. It took them a little bit of time to get into those different positions. And you could tell that Team Bond made a lot of very, I would say, basic mistakes in their overall approach, where they spent a bit too much time in the positions that they got the kills from, especially in that last one where Huya, yeah, he got that opening kill. That's good. That's not bad. But he stayed in that angle and then he got traded out because he just didn't try to run away and get into a better spot to just reposition, give away that space. Because if you have that man advantage, you don't need to hold on to that space anymore unless you have someone else around you. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be all that we have for you for this BO3. The lower bracket round winners, for the first lower bracket round winners, ladies and gentlemen, will be none other than the side of Red Wings, and they're going to be moving one step closer to the possible revenge story up against Online Dogs on that upper bracket, or even the grand finals. You never really know who's going to be the one to come down here, because it is going to be difficult. But for now, it's your boy Aggressive signing on off, and hopefully Keith is going to be back for the second one, as we are still have one more BO3 for you guys soon enough. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with game number 2 of pretty much the biggest event that we could have had here for the 0 Asia Showdown, ladies and gentlemen, 2025 edition. And we are here to give you all of the action in front of your screens today. Sadly, here, though, is still not here. His inanimate object is going to be right next to me. But what we do have in front of you is going to be Chaos Theory going up against the side of SHOPERBRO. Now, SHOPERBRO as a team, we already know and love them. We already know what they're capable of. As a team, these guys are incredible. A lot of big names on their side, and the team is just so well balanced in every single way. Every single one of these players on the side of SHOPERBRO as well, they're near their 30s. The players are way past their prime, but they're still hitting shots, and they are making sure they teach these young ones that, hey, I got an experience from one of the best esports in history. They're still playing that esports at such a old age, and now they're diving into an absolutely new one, a banger one at that, being 0 Hour, ladies and gentlemen. So you have to give credit where credit is due. Jumping down over in towards the game, the map selection is looking to be quite interesting too, with map number 1 being Breaking Met, Showtime being the second one, and with game number 3 leading us into Hotel Trouble, a very diverse map pool, to say the very least, on this overall setup. So I'm really excited to see of where this game is going to go. Starting everything off, ladies and gentlemen, you can already tell that Breaking Met will be one of those maps that really are in a league of its own, I would say, as most players have started to get a good read on what they want to do on this particular map as well. Especially when it comes down to SHOPERBRO. SHOPERBRO just love to play aggressive here. And with the team that they do have, Taha also being one of the key factors, I would say, for them winning out on a lot of their previous matchups, I'm not going to be surprised if they're going to be able to play through with this one. Chaos Theory, though, on the other side, they have been pretty good, I would say, overall on their run in this tournament, but mistakes that they keep on making are a little bit too frequent in some of these instances, and they need to be careful for it. Fatar playing for information here, is looking for sound on that first initial white stairs push, though. He's going to be popping that C4 almost instantaneously. These C4 charges are pretty strong and potent, ladies and gentlemen, because of the amount of range that they do have. Straight through the floor, they can still go in for kills, and one of the biggest surprises has to be that Fatar,
Deploying in 10 seconds.
he's been playing other esports titles too, right? They already won out on another tournament, and they are now here, sorry, to go in for another big one for themselves.
Locate and defuse the bomb.
They already tell that all their members now looking to go in for a little bit more of a heated situation, as Chaos Theory slowly working their way in towards the map now. Drones are going to be utilized coming through from the different sidelines. It's Warhead. Looking for the first engagement. Shields are on the cards for them, but looking at SHOPERBRO, they've yet to really be as overly aggressive. First initial lines of shots are already fired across the map, and with those plays being made, what are they going to try to do next? Looking for the engagement here already, Daha. So they always decide to maybe take this fight. Warhead giving away some pop shots to just try and deter these defenders from going in for anything big here. 5 minutes in, no real engagements just yet. First like the contact being made by Warhead once again over towards the white stairs angle. That aggressive nature is what we really want to see. The drone being utilized to give them even more information of what's really happening towards these upper floors. And with the side being taken at the bottom end, the members of Chaos Theory, they need to start establishing white control a bit faster. Otherwise, it's not going to be as easy for them. These set plays and setups are where this team really started to shine, but the time now ticking away. The members of Chaos Theory looking for that first kill, and they're going to be the ones to find it. Beautiful shot at that. Warhead instantly able to shut down what the members of SHOPERBRO were trying to pull off here. Taha, he wanted an opening kill, but instead, he was the one to give it away. Stabilization is key for them. So it's looking for even more here. Goes on the angles. Kingfisher tries to go in for the nade to try and flush out this player from the inside of bathroom, but I don't think they really expect him. With no real sound being made, the player can just still wait and see, wait for the timing to then go in for the fight. Who's actually playing inside of that bathroom position? Because as soon as he dives out, that's going to be big for them. Getting his frags out, they're not going to be able to find the kill, but they're able to get a little bit more space to play with here. Good positioning overall from the members of SHOPERBRO. They're able to utilize the tiny bit of man advantage they could have had, but still Chaos Theory so prominent in their overall approach, able to find out multiple, but never mind, they took out their own teammate in the process. 3v3 now across the map. It's going to be SHOPERBRO who are still in it to try and win this one out. Timing is key, as moving forward with the shield will be the best way that they can take a lot of the space, but with none of the players being close enough for this fight, this one position is always such an issue. Door trap being taken out of the equation. They're not going to be able to run into that angle for free, and they are going to be able to run into that angle for free now, but still not as easy as you would have expected. With the player right around the corner, Potato Opera taking out the shielder, and with the shield being in such a precarious position, they can't really even go in to try and take it back from them. Flashes now sent out through the railing. Somehow the railing play works out for the other players, but it never works out for me. Molotov not in hand, and it's just about the waiting game, because the players from White Stairs are just not making their way through. 2 minutes left on the clock to just try to stabilize their strategy again once more, as SHOPERBRO left to just relax and chill, I would say, as their players are just waiting for the next coming storm, which is going to be in the following round. For now, though, with the stability that they do have, they're not really going to be as worried about it as you would have expected. Potato Opera still is going to be inside of the side. They're just going to try to run on in, maybe go in for a couple of motor skills. Block Farmer in towards the corner, goes in for a couple of pop shots. Moves away down. The stalemates are a little bit close for the angle, but the Grim Reaper is ready to take away his soul. 0-1, and SHOPERBRO are one of those players that can really hold on to these fights and not even give up on it for even a second. Really well played out round coming in from their team, as this first one going in their favor, not that big of a surprise, because SHOPERBRO have been doing wonders when it comes down to the overall setup. Ataha going out early. Now, that could be a point of contention for a lot of people, being like, hey, they lost out on one of their players very early on in the fight, but that's kind of what SHOPERBRO does, right? All of their team members, even if they mess up right at the very beginning, they're not going to scream and be mad at one another. They're going to try to keep on building upon that momentum. Knowing them, should be able to do so. It's Chaos Theory now. They need to start figuring out a plan, because their overall execute, yeah, they had the man advantage.
Use the planning table to find the bomb.
But when it came time for the shield to just run across and take space, they didn't really have anyone following him. And the shield just kind of became useless in more ways than one.
Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
Now, going into this round, you can already tell that the drones utilized to just try to push into a little bit more of a different position for them, as the booty room, as we like to call it here in 0 Hour, ladies and gentlemen. They're being revealed out to them at the bare minimum. All the angles in check. So they're working their way in. The fights that they're trying to make are generally a little bit more pronounced, to say the very least, as SHOPERBRO. They're not really actively fighting for those power positions, as second floor seems to be their primary concern. The staircase being fully taken over almost by the members of Chaos Theory, as well as they have pretty much every position that they could have wanted across the entire map. All their players ready to keep on going for this fight. They're expecting another duel that could be coming in, but with none of the members being close for this overall engagement, SHOPERBRO, you're just waiting to see what's going to be coming out towards them. It's being utilized close on the angle. One of the players up close and personal, Potato Upper, possibly going in for the kill, but the angle is just not in his favor. He's giving away sounds. He's trying to see if he can find the fight, but he's not going to be able to do so. Instantly runs on away. That angle was disadvantageous, so it's understandable to say the very least. Iron Knight able to get a big catch here on that nade, but Taha answers back in kind, takes out OMG almost immediately. And that's going to be perfect for them. A 1-for-1 trade at the bare minimum for the attackers in this particular game is always detrimental. Now, with the Molotov being utilized to just deter the shield from getting even closer on the angle, it's even more crucial for them. They don't really have the best of information to try and go in for a hit just yet, and Chaos Theory, they're just stuck waiting to figure out on what in the name of God is going to happen next to them. Because for now, the team's overall setup has just not been looking as good as you would hope for. Chaos Theory is just waiting to see if SHOPERBRO are going to make any of those mistakes. And knowing SHOPERBRO, they're not going to do it as easily unless you force it, just like you did here. Warhead's going to be able to catch out Taha on a beautiful position. I do believe that Warhead got that catch on the player that was trying to play on the vertical lines aside as well. Going to be able to work their way in towards the side, and that's going to be perfect for them. Hasib over towards the bottom floor, possibly able to find one more for himself on the towards the angle. Grim Reaper, beautiful for the shots, but they have to worry about the players that are inside of the site now. Shield in check, but the flash and the flash was utilized beautifully to go in for the damage. Nades tossed in towards the room to just deter the players that are already in from getting even more for themselves. Position's perfect. Nades in check as they're still trying to go in for that fight. Afraid of a player that could be possibly coming in from the top floor, but without the shield getting recovered here, they can't really go in for the defuse just yet. It's all about the waiting game. Trying to go in for the opposite side. Smoke's being utilized to just try and cover up this defuse even further, but they can't really go in for this duel just yet. Big positions tossed out, one on a massive flank, and it could be theirs. They're not really expecting it, but Fatar instantly turns around and catches out bot form, and the shots are perfect. The enemy left the building. He's coming around from the opposite side. He's dealing the damage. He's in a good position. He's trying to go in for the play. He's in a better spot. He's gonna go in for that swing. Spots him out, and Fatar! Oh my god! He just goes in strong. Beautifully well played out round from the members of SHOPERBRO. A very unconventional round win for them as well, because Fatar, that moment of urgency to know that, hey, I need to cross this position right now, get into a better spot, into the room, into the room from the backside, utilizing their smoke from their enemies as cover to do so as well. It is incredible. SHOPERBRO, they know what to do when the heat of the situation arises. And these kind of creative plays are what makes this team so good to watch. SHOPERBRO, they take a 0-2 scoreline. When the beauty of this round comes in, it just does not change now, does it? Well played out round for them.
Use the planning table to find the bomb. Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
Next round now starting on down through, ladies and gentlemen. SHOPERBRO still look to be that indestructible team, but not in the way that you would have expected. All these rounds are really coming down to the wire, and it's that just that last mode of creativity when it comes down to those 1v1 situations is where SHOPERBRO's experiences are really coming into play. The understanding to go in for runouts like that, to change positions on the fly, almost on the whim. It doesn't happen naturally unless you've played a game for a very long time. And with the experience that they have playing other similar FPS titles to 0 Hour, it's really helping out. That's probably one of those tactics that is only done in that particular game. And the fact that it's being done here, it is just... Seems the Chaos Theory is already dropping like flies here across the map. Hasib's going to be able to catch out Kingfisher as well, and these are big frags for them to find. Positionally, it's going to be Warhead who came in from the main entrance. He tried to go in for the kill, but Fatara instantly finds that trade. They're all across the map like cockroaches here. They're just able to turn things down one after the next. Iron, the back end of this, Bot Farmer in towards the angle, has the C2 charge to just open up a little bit of a space for himself, but even with a shotgun, he's not going to be able to do this one for free. One could be on the top. They need to be careful of where this player could be running at them from. 4 minutes left on the clock as members of SHOPERBRO, it's all about the waiting game now. Pretty sure that Chaos Theory is not going to be risking much here. They're not pushing it anywhere, as could be an unofficial pack timeout for them, because the rounds of 0 Hour tend to last a very long time. And in a lot of ways, I wish that the game would like maybe last like only 3 minutes at most instead of 5 or even 4 minutes, honestly. But it's a design, right? Especially because, like, I think this is a problem of our region in general. We take a lot more fights and don't take it as tactically as you generally should. But with so much of a time gap, 5 minutes is a lot of time wasted. Actually, 6 minutes if you consider the very start of the game. It's a lot of time that you need to burn through to try and work your way in. But this though on the close quarters angle, Bot Farmer kind of gave up that position a bit too early. Fatar able to go in for the kill. Last one's already spotted here as Iron Knight gonna get picked out. With all the players coming in. Fatar with a beautifully cooked out nade just catches Iron Knight before he's able to do anything. Instantaneous kill and a 3-0 scoreline. SHOPERBRO, they go over to the attack side pretty much flawlessly.
Use the planning table to find the bomb.
Three to 0 on the scorecard still, ladies and gentlemen, as game is about to commence once again on the opposite side of the spectrum. We do see that Chaos Theory have gone in for a little bit more of a spread out approach, with Iron Knight trying to take that initiative for his own team as well, as seemingly yet to come on through as Chaos Theory we're gonna build up even closer for these fights. Angle looks pretty well done from Baja as well as they're walking their way forward. A couple of these cheeky lines of sight that see they're trying to really fight for too. And now taking a very slow-ended approach here from the side of SHOPERBRO. And that's completely fine because they understand what Chaos Theory could be lurking around pretty much any singular corner here. But overall drone work as well coming through from them, as they're really utilizing this drone to get as much information as they possibly can, as Potato Hopper soon to be running out of battery if he's not careful. A drone doesn't really have the best of signal, as be sure they're going to be expecting this. They can't really fit that drone outside of that doorway. But one of the players have been hurt, I do believe, that they're going to be expecting him in the pepper room. It's just about waiting out and just doing out even more of those different positions as SHOPERBRO now. But they're way in towards the red room as well. Down towards the bottom floors, the drone is still up and present if they want to utilize it to gain even more information, but finding a lot more of these better trades out here for themselves. This Chaos Theory just keep on falling like flies, one after the next. Aha and Fatar are just getting all of these picks for themselves. They're looking for more, and it's going to be Kingfisher who does come alive for one kill, but with so many of the angry players from the side of SHOPERBRO just hunting him down, sniffing out his position, they're going to swing into him, but Kingfisher still alive and kicking. He's able to do so much here. Position's good. Kingfisher's going to be able to find one, but Hasib just instantly trades back in kind. Good headshots coming in from either end of this. As Kingfisher nearly went in for the big clutch. SHOPERBRO now sitting at match point for map number 1. Beautifully done out round, ladies and gentlemen, as 4-0 is pretty much a probability for them, but good God, SHOPERBRO. The fact that they are so dominant on the defensive side and also on the attack is what's really been the biggest game changer for us here in this particular game. Looks to be a little bit more of a stable sideline for them too, but let's just see where they go with this one. For now, slow and steady wins the race for them.
Planning table to find the bomb.
So gotta see where they're gonna go with this one.
Deploying in 10 seconds.
For now, though, let's just see how this last round is going to be looking for them here.
Locate and defuse
As it
the
seems
bomb.
as though SHOPERBRO has a pretty good iron foothold on this particular map indeed. As their setup's been looking quite clean in more ways than one. With the way that Chaos Theory have generally been playing, it's not really bad, but at the same time, oh my god, the drone's having a seizure. God, God. Spectator cam is just a little bit questionable sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, a work in progress here. Grassroots esports after all, but looking at this setup, they're pretty much in for a lot of treats. That is for certain. Wait a minute, you can fit the drone through that? Okay, the more you learn, I guess. They now have a drone inside of the building, giving them all the information that they could have wanted. I do believe that's a one-way thing because I didn't really see that drone come out of that position before. As for the members of SHOPERBRO, they're able to find all the value that they could have asked for. One of the players have been spotted, I do believe, close to that top forward position. It's Fatar hunting him down. Positions up close, over towards the right side, I do believe, and at lab point is where they're really hunting him down, expecting the fight, looking towards the different positions. He's not going to be ready for it. He's looking for the kill, but Warhead's just way faster on the angle. Poor old Fatar just wasn't able to scope in fast enough for it. He does die, but deals the damage and gives the information to his teammates. Potato Opera just comes in from the back end. He's going to be able to find the kill. Good nade being utilized, but he doesn't deal the damage that he needs to Taha. And it gets stuck on the angle, and that's going to cost him there. 3v3 now as Chaos Theory finally finding themselves back in towards this game and in towards match point as well. So they're fighting tooth and nail for map number 1 here. Any big mistake here that they do make, send it over into a 2v2 and it's all but over. Door to be opened up. First initial lines of sight being created here for the members of SHOPERBRO to look in for a kill. Kingfisher still able to find it. And it's going to be Grim Reaper who takes the back seats. Hasib still on the map, still alive and kicking to try and bring this one back in towards the back end. He's making a lot of noise here, and Kingfisher is kind of expecting it. Only one way to take this entry and only one way to go here. He needs to take this fight and he needs to be the one to win. Positions revealed. It's going to be Hasib who goes in for the frag and he's going to be the one to find it. Headshots galore coming in from him. 2v2 now on the map. That's Chaos Theory. One stuck in towards the corner. The position is almost perfect. No one's going to be clearing him out of that unless they know the spot is on the contestant. Hasib gets the catch over towards Bot Farmer as well. Iron Knight in towards the back. He needs to clear out this angle almost immediately towards the side of the living room. He understands that the position's now compromised. Working their way in. 3 minutes left on the clock. They don't have to worry about a damn thing. Positionally, they're in such a good spot. This is what you would love to see. Iron Knight, even if he's good for one kill, he's not going to be able to take out the second on Hasib. He just shuts him down, takes a 5-0 victory for map number 1, ladies and gentlemen. And SHOPERBRO, they are here shopping for your souls. As Chaos Theory just couldn't get a good foothold on this map whatsoever. SHOPERBRO and their overall teamwork, even at a man disadvantage, they could not be stopped. This is what you want to see, and this is the beauty of the game of 0 Hour, ladies and gentlemen. Once you have a good read on what you're trying to do in this game, there's absolutely nothing in this universe that can stop you. Back onto the desk here, ladies and gentlemen. You can already tell that the players have been quite interesting, to say the very least. But what will be even more interesting is what map number 2 is going to be looking like for both of these squads. Will Chaos Theory be able to go in for a comeback, send us over into map number 3? Or will SHOPERBRO be running away with Showtime, where their movie is premiering? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with a lot more 0 Hour action. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with game number 2 of SHOPERBRO going up against Chaos Theory. Now, Chaos Theory had a little bit of bad showing for map number 1. Probably not their map, so it's just not looking as good for them here. So you don't really want to try and highlight the bad things for a particular team, right? 5-0 loss, it does happen from time to time for pretty much everyone, and that's been kind of like the storyline for this entire Acer Showdown, as well as a lot of teams have not really been able to push over to that third map. They've always lost out on that second, and seemingly it could be that storyline once again. As we do see that the members of SHOPERBRO are just in a league of their own. Even when they're at a man disadvantage, seemingly nothing can just really stop them, especially with Hasib leading the charge. The man's married, mind you, and being such an old gun, he's still able to stabilize and make sure that his team is always the ones to rally behind him. We had an interview in another game about Hasib and the way that he leads his team. And honestly, Hasib is just such an inspiration because as soon as he starts talking, his team is just always able to rally around him. They have that good mental that they always try to bring into every single match, and that mental just keeps on carrying forward throughout the entire game. They build upon their strategies, they become stronger, and they are arguably one of the best teams that we could have had in this tournament as well. Previously, when they were playing in the last Bangladesh Open, they had a pretty rough showing, especially losing up against the side of Rancor. But when SHOPERBRO were able to get their eyes set and ready on another big squad, now that they have really gotten that time to play the game a little bit more and go in for a couple of scrims as well. Like, set plays and setups that they can do is pretty important, to say the very least. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna need to see where they're gonna go with this one, because the way that the game has been panned out, the way that the storyline has been building, game number 2 will be going over to Showtime. And now in Showtime, it's gonna be even more difficult, I would say, for Chaos to find a lot of value, because this map just awards teams that really play their cards well, in the sense that, hey, if you're trying to overcommit to any of your fights, you will be punished heavily for it. And if you're not trading well enough with your teammates, you're also going to have problems. And when it comes up to the factors of trading, I don't think any other team, even Rancor, are on the same level as SHOPERBRO because of the synergy that these players have. They just know exactly where one another are in every single one of their fights, and that's gives them a pretty significant edge in almost all of their duels. And that's exactly what you love to see coming out from them. Kirito's poster making a little bit of a debut already here, ladies and gentlemen, as they're looking for a bit more of a change, to say the very least. And let's just see where they go with this one, as it seems as the Warhead having a little bit of a game here on his own with the doors here. SHOPERBRO now, they're going to be starting off on the attack side, and Chaos Theory taking it easy for the overall engagement. Pretty standard positions pretty much from every single one of their players, as the hit looks to be there, but with a much more slower-ended approach. Where do you want to go with this one?
10 seconds.
Let's see Bot Farmer trying to read Bangla at this point. Has the camera to just create another big opening and gain some extra information for themselves.
Locate and defuse
They're taking
bomb.
things slow. A bit of a slower approach is really quite crucial for them. It's already the members of SHOPERBRO looking for the earlier duel. Bit of a switch out, I would say, overall, on what they're trying to go for here too. Scaffolding being utilized as well. Very few teams do really utilize this one singular position. Having scaffolding under control is pretty big for you as a team, because then you can have a very good double-ended entry. So you can tell the SHOPERBRO, they've done their homework for this particular map, so a good understanding of where they want to go with this, especially with the repels being utilized as well. Chaos Theory, they've given away the entirety of stockroom and bathroom towards SHOPERBRO, so they can easily break into the building without any form of issues. Smokes now with some C2 charges, the VIP room under siege. And SHOPERBRO have taken over another big position for themselves. Entrance blocked off, but he's still going to be able to hold on to it if he tries to do so. Also a different position than all of their players in a bad spot. Hasib instantly able to find that catch. Warhead not really any wise for the situation. Gave away a lot of noise, and Hasib just went in for a point-and-click adventure game. Looks for another fight over towards the top end, and it's going to be Fatar instantly shutting down OMG Hell. Good kill as well on that. The recoil control was perfect. Bot farmer able to shut down Fatar, though. Answers back for a 1-2 trade. And that's good for them overall. Now stabilize. Because the members of SHOPERBRO, they have actively been able to gain space, while the members of Chaos Theory now running around to a different position. But oh my god, the spray control on this man. He was able to shut down two. Good god. That flick was incredible. A SHOPERBRO, they take a 1-0 victory. Good god, that was a big one coming in from Taha.
Use the planning table to find the bomb. Deploying in 10 seconds.
It's going to be quite interesting, though, for what we can witness from Chaos Theory in this particular round. They've gone in for a little bit more of an aggressive approach towards the side of Market. And then Market approach is quite smart, I would say, as well, coming out from them. But no, SHOPERBRO, they're not really a team that likes to actively play towards those market positions, other than one, of course. But clearance is pretty much going to be a necessity for them, and if they're not careful, they could be walking into a death trap. This is a good adaptation from the members of Chaos Theory, but they need to wait until at least 1 minute before they can go in for those big runouts and try to take these fights. Stability is the name of the game. A lot of the angles have been cleared out by the drone here. Market looks to be in the open for Fatar to just go in for a little bit of an open hunting season, but one of the players in for the close angle. He's looking for the shot. He's not going to be able to get the kill. Trying to survive, but the kill does come through. It's going to be Grim Reaper with perfect spray control to shut down one. Potato Whopper is going to be able to take out the second. Beautifully done at that. Ladies and gentlemen, set plays that they have gone for just completely fall apart because Chaos Theory just couldn't really win out on the gunfight. That should have been a kill on them, but instead it just didn't work well for them. Let's see where they push into this one. It's OMG Hell now. On the opposite side here. It's looking to take this fight, but not able to get it just yet as Fatar. The opposite angle, trying to maybe go in for a break open kill for their team. It's Warhead able to find a big opener for their spot. Take us over down to a 2v2 now. Chaos Theory finally showing signs of life for their entire team, but Fatar is still waiting on the top end. Potato Opera still having an active drone ready to gain some information. They still need to find that first line of entry. Fatar giving away a lot of info where he actually is playing from, but Warhead's in such a good spot. He can easily spot out the player from the opposite side of the projector. So anyone who runs in towards the cinema is still not going to be safe. There's too many different options that they have to worry about. Potato Opera still has the drone to just give them a slight bit of information, but with the drone's battery running out soon, Fatar needs to go into this blind. None of the players have been spotted, and Warhead's positioning is just even stronger. They're in top spots. SHOPERBRO? I don't think they're going to be aware of this one. This round could easily go in the favor of Chaos Theory unless they fumble the ball and easily start missing out on a lot of their shots. Potato Opera is going to be the first line to try and open things out here. Who's going to be the one to peak is the real question. Will it be the top or will it be the bottom? Already for the opening, it's going to be Fatar who gets the big one at that. OMG Hell trying to wrap around from all the way around from the right side of market. They still have the open door to play for. This is really good for them. And as long as they wait it out, as long as they play this one slow, it's not really going to be a big issue. Market door is open, and I'm pretty sure they have the understanding that, hey, the player has to be coming through from market if they have not peeked out in so long. Positionings are good. They've already cleared on multiple different of their spots. Potato Opera in the angle, ready for the fight. He's going to try to go in for the defuse while his teammate's going to be holding down the line for them. As he can just sit down for it. He can't really take this fight because Potato Opera is going to be in the angle already to go in for that kill. Fatar gets shut down, but because he was fully prone on the floor waiting for him to take that fight, SHOPERBRO, they had the perfect read. 2-0 for himself. 2-0 for themselves, sorry, for this second map already. The way that SHOPERBRO have been playing, their synergy looks way too perfect.
Use the planning table to find the bomb. Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
Seems as though it's going to be an opening kill coming in too for the members of Chaos Theory here. It's going to be Reaper. Now looking to go in for that hit. OMGL is going to be able to take down a second one though. Never mind. The members of Chaos Theory now showing signs of life here. Instantly answering back one after the other. Getting a lot of these positions and those frags for themselves. And for now, it seems as though Chaos Theory looking for this engagement. They're able to do so much for this one. Bot Farmer. The back end of this, if they're not careful, they could be shut down in more ways than one. Chaos Theory able to be as aggressive as they could possibly would have wanted. Went in for the kills, and they are the ones to find it indeed. And now it's all up to Potato Opera to try and go in for the big frags here for his entire team. 1v4 now on this situation to try and bring this one back. As for now, though, doesn't look like it's gonna be working out in their favor. Potato hopper. Really even want to go with this one. As overall, I'm not really looking in for this fight. As he's probably going to be taking an unofficial tag timeout at this point because it's going to be a close to impossible round for him to find unless the members of Chaos Theory really just force themselves into all of these angles almost instantaneously. It's not going to be looking as good for them, but still always a chance and opportunity yet to be presented. Red Room now being taken over. Going to be able to work. Sorry, the emergency exit for the market. Now being entered upon. He's working his way up, but look at the positioning from Chaos Theory. They're all over the hostage at this point. There's no way that Potato Hopper is even going to be able to get close to this one to even try to go in for the full-on defuse. Try and save this hostage. So the chance, but he can probably go in for at least one kill, but the audio is already coming through of where his last known position is. This round could just easily be all but over. Valkyrie at that close range fight as well you're never going to be able to win that. The fire rate's a little bit too high. 2-1 on the scorecards, ladies and gentlemen. Shopperbro, they're going to be going in towards the second half on the defensive end, mind you, with a 2-1 scoreline for themselves. As Chaos Theory, yeah, they do have one round, but that one round is, yeah, it's a good consolation prize, especially after what we witnessed from round number 1 and round number 2. They cut it down to the wire. This was a well played out round for them because Chaos 3, they took everything under their own belt and they understood that, hey, we are letting Shopperbro take a lot of free space and we're not really fighting into them. Showtime is one of those maps that encourages defenders to go in for a lot more of those aggressive fights because of the long lines of sight that you can try and hold on this particular map, and because there are certain positions that the attackers have to come into and you can't really get easily spotted out by drones either. If you play your cards right, you can easily catch out at least 1 or 2 attackers immediately as soon as the round starts. And that's exactly what Chaos Theory did to take that victory. Now, what's the setup going to look like for Shopperbro on this defensive side? Knowing them, they do have a couple of nifty setups that we already witnessed on those last couple of maps. So it wouldn't be a surprise if we see them going for something big here as well.
Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
Looking for another big fight here. You can already tell that Maven, he's just lurking his way up. He's looking for the engagement. He spotted out his foot, so he's not going to be able to take that fight anymore. It's a risky angle to try and take a Shopperbro in towards the market side. They're still looking for an earlier engagement. It's just not going to be that easy. It's going to keep on going at the bare minimum, but it's just a huge issue for them. Slow and steady wins the race, that's for certain. So looking for the earlier fight. Bot Farmer. Looking in towards the back end of this as, for now, Haseeb Warriors. Sorry, Haseeb wants peace. My bad. That's a different team entirely, but with the same players. Shopperbro. They're looking to be in a bit of a bind of their own, I would say, because they can't really move anywhere. Chaos Theory have yet to work their way in towards the map, so they need to be as still as they possibly can. Not really risk any of these fights. Just keep on playing it slow. positions that they've easily gone for. You can already tell that Warheads, he's already hunting down the player in the angle for the fight. It's going to be Taha who pays for it with his own life. It was a little bit too far outside for that duel and can give away with it with his own life. As he does find one at the bare minimum, but I guess they get traded out in kind. They're looking for even more here for the overall engagement as Grim. He's not really going to be able to find anything here towards the bottom end. It's going to be Fatar with another one. A SHOPERBRO looking to be so clean for this one. Potato Hopper on the perfect angle. He's going to be able to shut down one more, trying to brute force his way in for this fight. Warhead on the outskirts of scaffolding. As all the players of SHOPERBRO are just in tune with one another. Fatar gets another one for himself, while Syria just running around like headless chickens, it seems, as none of their players are even close to one another to try and trade off of any of these positions that they're trying to fight for. We saw this coming out from SHOPERBRO previously, that they were always going in for that buddy system, so even if one person dies out, they still have a chance to take these engagements properly. It's surprising to see where they're gonna go with this one too. Just for now. Looking to go knee deep into the enemy backline once again. It's gonna be a huge issue for him. Warhead. 2 minutes left on the clock. He's trying to burn out the time and just make his opponents wish they didn't want to be in this one anymore, but that's kind of what the reality of the situation is like too. The round timer is just so long that kind of gets grueling, and it allows the attackers to really just try to settle themselves in. But looking at the overall position, SHOPERBRO not really worried about it as much, as looking to go in for a bit of a hunt here. Warhead's position soon should be revealed because he is making a good amount of noise over on the central corridor. He's on the ground floor, so it's to work his way up all the way towards the movie theater. It's Fatar. He's probably heard out the first bit of footsteps here already. Door in towards his back. He's not going to be opening it almost immediately, but knowing Fatar, he's ready for it. Possibly could go in for the kill. He's not expecting it. Door already opened up. Fatar, he hears the sounds. He goes in for the spray, and he's going to be the one to connect it. Free kill for him. 1 to 3. He just suddenly came back onto his PC and was like, hey, where am I hearing these sounds from? Is it behind me? No, it's in front of me. And he's immediately able to find it. Good, well played out round, ladies and gentlemen. SHOPERBRO, they take a strong start for themselves.
Use the planning table to find the bomb. Deploying in 10 seconds. locate and defuse the bomb.
Now though, the members of Chaos Theory are looking to go in for the hit on their own. Good smoke early on to just give them a tiny bit more space to play with, as they're trying to go in for the repels here, knowing SHOPERBRO. They are one of those teams that love to play in as aggressively as they possibly can, but on this defensive side, this team just looks to be such a huge issue and a nuisance. These power points for them are just always one thing for contention. Player playing towards the side of the sniper nest, though. It's going to be another bigger issue. But spots here, as these players have already been spotted. They can't really go in for the kill just yet. It's going to be the first year real opening, I do believe. But because he has been down outside of the building, they're probably going to be expecting a couple more players to be on that angle. One player already spotted to try and go in for a possible revive here. They need to be careful. SHOPERBRO, they could be walking into a death trap if they're not careful. Spray comes in. It's going to be Fatar who goes in for the opener. Warhead's going to be able to find two. And this was a slight bit of a questionable play. I do not know why Hasib. He went in for the stick there. He should have known that there was another player present. A very risky fight, and Fatar just... I guess Hasib just wasn't prepared for it. Understandable, but yeah, God, not like that. All more position as they hear the footsteps here on that side, as players are expecting this one spot to be near the side of VIP. Already utilized for the angle. Good shots here could be coming through from the Grim Reaper. He's able to get the kill. He's looking for the secondary. In for the angle. In for the push as well. Grim Reaper still up and ready to go in for more here. He's going to get spotted out over towards the back. Flashlight's being utilized to just try and cause a little bit of a scare here for them. Backups present and ready as the members of SHOPERBRO down over to a 3v3, make it a 3v2 now. Still working wonders for their team. This flashlight is just a slight bit questionable, but hey, if it works, it works. You blind the enemies by the light, just as the Wicked would have said. And now, they're just stabilizing to hold. What I don't really understand, though, is... what's going to be going on here on out. The engagements quite well done for them as Kingfisher. Good for the opener here, finally taking it over down to a 2v2. Setups are good, but it's already the opening pushes seem to be coming in. Good shot here. Grim is ready for the crosshair placement as well. Instantaneous for that kill. Last player to be spotted over towards the side of market. Now they're looking for even more. Kingfisher just on that angle, waiting for the engagement to come in even further. The fight present and ready. So all these players are just so close for these duels. And you can tell that Grim's just up and waiting. He's not really worried about anything here. As Potato Opera as well on the opposite spectrum of this. 1 to 4 seems to be a reality for them as Chaos Theory. Don't see how they're going to be able to win this round unless we see a big hiccup being done by SHOPERBRO. They need information, and information's just not been king for them whatsoever. 1 minute 40 left on the clock to try and stabilize it even further, I would say. Just talk it through with one another. I need to see where this is going to go with this one. But for now, gonna need to try and push this one forward even more. It's being utilized by Kingfisher to just try to flush out these players even more. To try and see if one of them just tries to go in for an over-aggressive peek, but none of them are really doing so. Positions revealed. I do believe that Grim, he heard out the sound, but he's a little bit too close on the angle. Instantly closes his door. He's not going to be risking it. Opens it up. Instant 180 to try and go in for the spray. Players are coming through, and both of them just trade each other out. 1-4, ladies and gentlemen. Chaos Theory. They take the round. They are not able to take the round, sorry, with SHOPERBRO now sitting at match point. 1-4 now, ladies and gentlemen, as SHOPERBRO, they've looked to be indestructible in their overall approach. As soon as there's 5 players that are alive, nothing in this universe is seemingly stopping them. And this second BO3 is very similar to what happened in the first one, where REDWINGS just were able to get a dominant first map win and a semi-dominant second one on Prison Break. But here, it's just SHOPERBRO after SHOPERBRO. A 5-0 victory for map number 1 and a possible 5-1 could be on the cards for them here, because Chaos Theory are just not really able to go up against the raw mechanical skill set that SHOPERBRO have for themselves. This is the synergy that I was talking about. This is the game plan that they have, that they've built upon for all these years. And when a team is this good on the synergy level, even if they don't know the game to its fullest degree, you can tell that they do make some mistakes when trying to figure out 0 Hour, and they try to play it like another tactical shooter that we all know and love. But that's kind of the thing, right? That's how the reality of the situation goes. When you put so many years into the craft that you have tried to build, especially for Hasib, it's not that big of a surprise.
Deploying in 10 seconds. Locate and defuse the bomb.
They're looking for an early fight here too, as Chaos Theory towards the back, trying to work their way through, just keep on moving forward even more. SHOPERBRO, they're taking their time with this one. No real runouts coming in from Taha, it seems. These players are already kind of looking for these early frags here. Bit of a dangerous spot from Potato Opera here, sitting inside the kitchen side. So for now, they're looking for this fight as Potato Opera in close for the angle here already. They're looking for the fight, but with Warhead in position for it all, they're looking for a bit more of a closer engagement. A bit risky to say the very least as well. And unless they're careful, it's going to be a bit more of a problem for them. As you can tell that Maven, he's ready to take this fight as quickly as he possibly could, but SHOPERBRO are seemingly losing out on their bodies a little bit here, but Fatah is still alive and kicking, looking for even more to give in towards this round. 3v2 now across the map as Bot Farm has been able to take down another one, making a 3v1 here as Chaos Theory just catch out the members of SHOPERBRO with their pants down a little bit too hard in this particular round. Bit risky, but overall still works for them. It's on this 4-2 score line. Chaos Theory.
Use the planning
They need to
table
turn
find the
everything
bomb.
out as quickly as they possibly could too. For now, we do see a bit of a closer engagement, to say at the very least. SHOPERBRO have yet to really get into more of a better spot here. So for them, this is just about closing out this game as quickly as they possibly can, but now that they're on the attack side, this could be a bit more of a problem for them overall, but knowing SHOPERBRO, they should be able to stabilize well enough that they can make a good push happen, knowing them and their overall setup. But for Chaos Theory, this is just a boon in disguise, because them being on the defensive side is going to be so massive for them. Drones being utilized to just give them the early bout of information of anyone's playing from these close rooms here. If they're able to find a good opener, that's going to be perfect for them. It's risky from Chaos Theory, but risks are what need to be taken if they want to take this win here up against them. Fight's already taken. C2 charges to blow open the frontal doors to give them an easier entry moving forward. Goes for the fight. The drones now being taken out, I do believe. SHOPERBRO do trade a couple of bullets. Information gained that the players are closer in for these angles. They're not able to find the kill. This is a bit risky. Fatar in a bit of a bad spot, but still, he's able to find the kill. Never mind, he's able to find two. Fatar, being an absolute nuisance to society, he's able to take out three. Good God! That's Chaos Theory. Just fall onto the floor. Taha gets another one. It's down onto the last and a possible flawless round that could be coming in through. He's just sitting onto the hostage room, trying to look out on multiple different angles. He's gonna get pushed from every single side. He's gonna be good for a kill, but his position's all revealed. In from the back, they come in for the last big kill. They got the save and a 5-2 scoreline to end off map number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a massive surprise, because, good God, Chaos Theory losing out on 3 players like that just to Fatar on a perfect angle was absolutely unheard of. A well-played round indeed from the members of SHOPERBRO as they take that one step forward, keep on moving on to that lower bracket. Ladies and gentlemen, to see exactly who will be the ones to take that crown, you still have to remember that I do believe it is going to be SHOPERBRO going up against REDWINGS, and then whoever wins that match will be going up against the losers of the upper bracket, which is Rancor versus Online Dogs. So tomorrow we are going to be having the upper bracket matchups, ladies and gentlemen, to see exactly who's going to be the one to take that one. Not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, we're going to have that upper brackets matchup to see exactly who takes that victory there, and then our lower bracket run to see who's going to be moving forward to take that victory up against either take that game, up against Rancor and Online Dogs. So we still have a lot more action here for 0 Hour, a bunch more games to be played, and good God, a lot of high octane action, because now that the last top 4 teams are now picked out of this entire tournament, you know for a fact that the game is just gonna get even more interesting. But for now, it's gonna be your boy Aggressive with my non-existent Kirito on my right side signing on off. Thank you all for stopping on by for this amazing broadcast for these 2 BO3s, and we're gonna be seeing you day after tomorrow with a lot more 0 Hour action for the 0 Hour Aces Showdown. See you 2025. Good night and happy gaming, everyone.